woman heading up Watson's parole effort is none other than the daughter of one of his victims, Susan Laberge, the daughter of Rosemary LaBianca, the woman who on August 9, 1969, was viciously stabbed 42 times by Charles Tex Watson.
I am the daughter of Rosemary and Lino LaBianca, and I've written something ahead of time because I wasn't really sure how this would go and what I would remember to say.
And in this never-before-seen video, Susan Laberge talks to the California Parole Board, pleading for the release of her parents' killer.
I've had much time to think about the crimes Charles committed. They affected me as much as anyone else who loved any of the victims. It has taken time, information, knowledge, and God's love for me to come to the opinion and conclusion that I have reached. I don't think any kind of fear is justifiable for keeping Charles in prison. For Charles, I believe 21 years of imprisonment and his having to live with the memory of what he did is punishment enough. It is my belief that Charles could live in society peacefully and should be given a parole date.
But don't tell that to the mother of actress Sharon Tate. To her, any move to spring a mass killer like Tex Watson is just one more chapter in the world's longest nightmare.
You know the argument. She says that Tex Watson is a changed man. He's found Christ. He's a good Christian, and he's been in jail for 20 years. He's paid for his crime.
To think that she can sit there knowing that this man stabbed her mother 42 times in the back, that she wants him out, that is beyond human forgiveness.
Doris, if Susan Laberge was in this room right now, what would you say to her?
You dumb shit. That's what I'd probably say to her. Every mother that is listening to the sound of my voice, it would be their fear that their kid would go into a parole hearing and beg for their killer's life. How would you like for your, to be in that position, whereas you are the one that's murdered and your kids are trying to get your murderer out?
And Doris Tate, who has become an internationally recognized champion of victims' rights, didn't confine her anger to our interview. She also had plenty of venom at the recent parole board hearing for her face-to-face with Susan Laberge that started in the boardroom and wound up in the parking lot.
Have to have deterrence in this country. And if you're going to open the doors for serial killers, okay, you're going to open the doors for Ramirez. You're going to open the doors for Randy Kraft. You're going to open the doors for all the biggies. And that's what I don't. Okay?
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
It would be wonderful if you could meet people like my parents.
Susan Laberge refused to talk on camera with a current affair. Instead, she said she is producing her own Christian faith video on the subject of Tex Watson. Doris Tate, on the other hand, was anxious to respond to our questions.
You can't let serial killers out. You cannot. Because you do not know their actions once they are free people.
And you don't buy that he's repented?
I don't care if he's repented. He hasn't suffered enough. It's like I told him. I said, you get your parole when I get mine, okay? Or when your victims get their parole. That's when you should get your parole.
And the man who prosecuted Manson's family, including Tex Watson, agrees. Vincent Bugliosi says letting Watson out of jail would be the most grievous miscarriage of justice.
He's an actor. I don't know if he has any remorse or not. I really don't think that's the issue, though. Even assuming, for the sake of argument, that he is remorseful. This Susan apparently wants him to be set free now. There is a thing called justice. And the very thought of someone like Watson, who brutally snuffed out the precious lives of 7 human beings, only serving 20 years for 7 murders, in other words, 2.5 years for each murder, I think is repugnant to the sensibilities of any rational person. To even consider Watson for parole at this time or at any time is almost criminal.